are live, and we are back, and we are talking horse racing, the greatest gambling game in the world. Look at that, like a professional.
That is.
We are more on time than Maryland Racing is, so good job by us. I'm proud of us. Our Instagram skills not included in our boomerness, so
Correct.
we'll
That
see how
is
that
true.
goes. All right.
I'm excited for this.
Nope, that we can't see because I got to do a thing. Window, that one. Nick made a plot, and by that I mean I drew Incredible on there is where I think he's going to be. So for those that don't know the plot, up and down is the XY axis, and that's like the first call. What?
It rules. And also too, like earlier today, like I bought like a bootleg shirt, and now I'm staring at like the bootleg optics plot. Like it just kind of rules. So that's how it goes.
With the numbers missing, and so first call is going to be XY axis. Second call.
Oh yeah, there's no 5.
Yeah,
did you
no
do that
5? Yeah, because he's out of the race, and then no 12 because he's also out. So I was able to pull him out. So
that makes sense.
Now they're putting pills in. So now we're gonna go back, which I named Fake Plot, so it's good.
Fake plot.
So like Napoleon Solo, is it from the middle of the pack? Go to the lead. Kind of feels like he has to. Same thing with Taj Mahal, who's this big 13 in the square here. Kind of feels like you're gonna have a lot of speed, right? So it just sets up for a closer. So a horse like Incredible kind of fits well.
I mean, I don't know. It's a weird one, especially with the draw, because Robusta has the 4, who's the 10 on there.
Okay.
And the 13 Taj Mahal has the 1.
Right.
And then you have 8 Napoleon Solo, who is the 10. Let's see. 2 is of Chelly. He's probably not going to be on the lead. No, that can't be right. The 2 on the plot is Chip Poncho. Okay, no, that makes sense. He's going to be on the lead. And then Iron Honor as well, who has the 9. So you have this is so crazy. I have it like pulled up on I paused it from like when we were doing the thing. So now I'm like looking at it, but it's like that like mind fuck of being like, it's not 10, but it's 10.
Exactly.
So Napoleon Solo is
the 8 on my
is the 8
plot.
On the plot and the 10 in the race.
Yeah.
So he's gonna have to go. And the same thing, who is the 10 on the plot, Robusta.
Yep.
Oh, not really. I mean, not Robusta, sorry. The 2, Chip Poncho, who has, where's he drawn? 6?
5?
6.
6.
This is too crazy.
6.
Trying to do
Chip Poncho is, Chip Poncho is the 6.
Okay. Just trying to think from design.
Yep.
Like who's gonna have to go from like that position because they don't really have a choice. So Iron Honor is the 7.
9.
Okay, Iron Honor, that's the one I was looking for.
Okay.
So Iron Honor has the 9, Napoleon Solo has the 10. So those two being side by side, they're gonna have to kind of go early, especially like next to each other and being in that position from there. Now, Robusta's not a need the lead, and neither, I don't really think that Taj Mahal is a need the lead either. So, I mean, Taj Mahal having the rail can realistically like sit behind those first, those other runners that try to clear from the outside.
Okay.
And then just save ground.
Interesting. That would not, I mean, I'm going to go back and look at his, I thought he was just like a go kind of horse, but you don't think he needs the lead? Taj Mahal? Yeah.
Well, we're going to talk about him when we do the trips.
Okay.
But I don't think so, because even in a couple of those races, he got off slow. And I think they're kind of cases too. And I mean, he won from off the pace, breaking his maiden. I know it's 6 furlongs, but at least in that instance, he showed that he's not like, oh, if horses get in front of me, I'm not going to go by them. if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I think in the other races at Laurel, where he wheeled back in 2 weeks for that second start
Yeah.
over a muddy track,
Yep.
they're like, we're just go. You're stretching out for the first time in 2 weeks, like avoid dirt in your face, etc. And then we watched the Tessio live coming off the layoff on April 18th. They just like gunned it.
Yeah.
Remember, they just like sprinted clear from the field. And even at that same point, like we were watching live, we're like, oh, he's getting tired. He's going to back up, and he found another gear. I don't know how like solid that field was, but I think that was kind of one of those instances too, where they're like, we just have the best horse. Let's just go.
Okay.
Given that scenario, like we're coming in fresh, we need some fitness.
Yeah.
Because then they slowed it down and he had another gear. So I think a lot of it is kind of situational, but I think having that draw in the inside, I mean, they might still send. I don't know. I can't get in their head, but I don't think they're a need the lead type. And especially with Taj Mahal, who does have that tendency to break a little bit slow, that could at least give them options to not try to rush through on the inside.
Interesting.
So
Yeah, I mean, looking at the way that I was like, he's on the rail, he's got to go. But I think you're right. If he goes and sits behind, because it is still a mile and a 3/16, which before that last race you said was what, a mile and a 1/8, probably, as I look. 9, yeah. So
9 furlongs.
Yeah, mile and an 1/8. So just going an extra half furlong. So probably not the biggest of deals, but he did certainly look like he was slowing down. But maybe not. Maybe he was just toying with them. But it certainly felt like going longer wasn't going to be his friend. So it feels like going to the lead and just hoping nobody else is good enough to pass would be sort of the way that I was looking at him anyways. And with the closers we have coming, it feels like probably got one or two that are going to close into him, I would think. But I guess find it out.
I mean, that's kind of the other reason that I think if nobody else went for the lead, but they see the same thing as us.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, there's a ton of speed in this race. It's going to fall apart. So I don't think there's any reason why they would be like, hey, let's just gun it and get into a speed duel with 6 other horses, especially if you break slow.
Right.
And then try to get first run. I think that's how if Taj Mahal wins, I think that's how they're going to win the race. I don't think they're going to be a best of the speed. Now, my other knock is because I went back and like watched that race, and I went through and like did all the races because, like you said, we did it live. It's like I completely was like, oh, stream over, out of my
Yep.
brain.
Don't need to worry about that one ever again.
Turn the page. Next. It just looked like a hard effort. Because they did like kind of prove like we're the best. We don't want to get in trouble. We're just going to win this race. They went clear, looked like they're going to back up into that far turn. Other horses started to make a run, and then Taj Mahal just like kept finding. But I just wonder like what that race takes out of them, because they were coming in off a 2-month break, and now it is less than 30 days, and now it is tougher competition. And he's going to have to run. He's going to have to run a big race and get a trip. And it's not out of the question, but those are things that when you're talking about having the favorite, you just want everything to be perfect and be like, okay, well, maybe if one of those things, right? Maybe even if he still doesn't run back to a top effort, he's still better than these horses. I don't know. It's like, okay, if he doesn't get his ideal trip, if he does get out on the lead and he does get into a speed duel, is he that much better that he's just going to be able to like battle those horses, like win the battle and the war?
Yeah.
Right? Like fight them early on and then hold off the closers late. I don't know if he has, I don't know if that combination would come together to justify a short price. And come on, where is he? He's not even the morning line favorite on here.
5-1. No, the Iron Honor is at 9-2. Incredible 5-1. Ship Honcho 5-1. Taj Mahal 5-1. And then Oselli 6-1. Then a bunch of I guess in Napoleon Solo 8, and then 15 and above after that. So, and nobody higher than 30.
Who's going to be favored in here? What? Okay. What number is the favorite going to be in here?
I would guess Incredible at 3-1, 5-2 would be sort of my guess. And then I think Taj Mahal's 3-1 in second choice. And then Ocelli is right there, 3-1, 7-2. And Iron Honor is 3-1, 7-2.
Yeah, I can't imagine this is like the Kentucky Derby where you're going to have 5 horses all sitting at 5-1. No way.
No, I think Kruper and Robusta and Corona de Oro and maybe Bull by the Horns, but I haven't looked at him closely enough that like we got 2 that were over 50-1, which is the first time we've had over 50-1 in Triple Crown race in quite some time, basically since what's his name won, Rich Strike won. So I don't think that we're going to get over 50-1, but I think we're going to be right around that 50-1 mark with a couple of these ones, because I think those ones went over 70. We're at 71 because they were AEs that came in like last minute type of thing. So I think they just didn't get as much money as you would have expected in this race. I think you will get, you won't get 9-5, 2-1 or anything like that, but I do think you're going to get a better price than you deserve because you're going to have enough, public money in there.
Yeah, and I mean, I'd say Bull by the Horns could be that 50-1, except for the fact of the connections.
Yeah.
Which is just probably going to take money on that alone. But I mean, legitimately, that horse should be 60-1.
Yeah, but if he's 40, 45-1,
yeah,
right, which I think may be possible. I mean, I think that's the only reason Iron Honor takes money, like that much money. I think he's fine. I just don't think he wants to go this long. But you get a Pratt Brown horse
who's at least run fast, who's at least run fast races and has a graded stakes win.
Yeah,
so
I can't imagine he's the favorite, but he's a morning line favorite. That just feels wrong to me. But I haven't looked that closely at the race, and I definitely haven't studied it to the point of being like, oh, I know who the favorite's going to be. But if given the choice, like if I had to make one, it'd be Taj Mahal or Incredible, and Incredible because he ran the Derby. Like that's it.
Yeah,
not because I think
he ran in the Derby. He had a subtle trip in the Derby. He had that part of that slight contact late with Renegade, right?
Yep.
He was like with Renegade in the stretch, making contact. And the connections, running here, coming out of the Derby, looking like the race shape, should set up for a horse from off the pace, just kind of like checks some of those boxes there.
Yeah.
And then I mean, in terms of Taj Mahal, like he's only gotten faster every race, but it is a class test.
Yeah, for
considerable.
Sure. I think Great White takes more money than 15-1 too, because I've heard enough people talk about how NBC was talking about him so much because he's huge and he flipped. And so a lot of people who were watching that saw him, not get to run. So I think he takes maybe not a ton of money, but I bet he's shorter than 15-1.
If I end up playing this race, he'll take some of my money.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, we talked about it. We talked about it a little bit, and actually, he was in when I did like a screw it, like 4-horse box for a try using Do the Dance 6, 7, 19, and Great White before he flipped. So he was in there, and that reason was, remember, we just looked at his every other pattern. Like he ran a big race on debut, he took a step back. He ran a big race in the Battaglia, he took a step back in the Bluegrass. He's supposed to sit on a big race. So,
and this field, I would say, is equivalent to the Bluegrass. I mean, Further Ado notwithstanding, obviously. Like, I like Further Ado. You probably didn't you obviously didn't as much as I did, but like.
Not in the Derby. Like, I just didn't. I didn't like how he was coming into the Derby. I didn't like how it set up for him in the Derby.
But the Bluegrass
he was a standout,
right? And that's sort of where it was like he faced a standout in that race, and now he's coming back and facing a lot of horses that are meh. So it feels like this would be the time, and
he's drawn well too, because he's another horse that's like, he's not a front runner, and we talked about that in the Bluegrass. It's like he has some natural early speed, but it was just kind of one of those situational things where they were on the inside and they decided to go. Like, I don't think they're going to do that from the 13. Not with not with other speed. Where is he on the plot? Is he even plotted?
Yeah.
Oh, he's in quadrant. He's one of those tricky ones, like surface distance. He's in quadrant 1, and then in standard, he's bullseye circle. So,
and I'll pull it up real quick and we'll go back to that just because I can maybe go back and forth a little bit here. Not really, as it turns out.
Yeah.
So he's the 6 in the plot. So in the surface distance, I don't love him, but I think the
is he a square or is
he's
he a circle?
He's the big circle. The
No, I
6.
see him there, but on standard, he's
On
not.
standard, I think he's. I can't tell. I'll pull up.
I thought it was a circle, and then when you pulled that up, I'm like, is he a square?
He's a circle on both.
Okay.
But he's a tiny little baby circle here in the bullseye.
But I think that's more of the trip that they would get. Is right there, like not deep closer, sitting off that first flight. He's drawn on the outside with that big ass body, and just looks to get first run.
Yep.
That's what I thought at first. I didn't see. I was like, I was looking at combinations and stuff, so like I didn't see him flip, and all of a sudden I saw he was scratched, and I was like, did he not fit in the gate? It's like, what happened? And then I saw it like soon after because somebody was.
That would actually be
right.
Like,
they tried that first, right? They made sure everybody could fit.
Wouldn't that be the most horse racing thing ever? Is like, no, we never tried it beforehand. We just assumed he'd be good, and then we put him in there, and he couldn't fit, so we had to scratch him.
Yeah.
He does
almost tweeted that out, and I was like, I don't think anyone's gonna understand, and I don't think this is correct. Yeah.
I mean, he does definitely run like you said, he from the bluegrass, he definitely was on the lead, but probably not because he had to, but because he kind of found himself there. But the other races,
they hard sent for that lead.
And so now where it's like maybe he comes back and does what you would expect him to do, which is kind of sitting off what we, based on the plot, like this group here is going, like the top of the top half of this plot is going to send, and then he just kind of sits behind, and if he's good enough to get the distance, he'll be right there. And I could see that. I'm not going to say no anymore. I'm not going to call you crazy like I did when we talked about the Derby, and you were exactly right. But this one seems more logical than that one, but that one in the end was like exactly logical. So
yeah, I mean, this one just has, there's too many, it's kind of like the Derby in the sense that all the horses that are that logical group, they have questions on something when it comes together as putting the race all together. Right? Like that was it. Like that was kind of it with like Further Ado. You're like, okay, if you look at him on paper as an individual, he's fast enough. He's got class. He's, no knocks.
Mm-hmm.
But then you're like, well, how does he win? What's his trip? What's he going to get in this field?
Yep.
Watching him train, he's high energy. He doesn't settle. He's wasting a lot of energy in the morning. He's going to need every ounce of that energy on race day, and he's saved none of it. So it's just like all those things come together. It's like, I don't want this guy at a short price.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
and that's kind of, that's kind of here as well. I mean, I guess I got to open the Derby and like see what Incredible looks like.
He looked like a square, kind of the like on the axis here, more than where I put him. I put him just closer up because I figured he'd be a little bit closer to what I don't think would be as fast of a pace as it was in the Derby.
Yeah.
So the other one, before I'll fill in with somebody else that I think we should talk about after we do the finish on Incredible. But the Hell We Did just feels like he's going to get kind of completely lost in all of this because he's coming in off of the what was it, the
second place in Bluegrass?
Yeah, no, in the Lexington.
Lexington, sorry.
Right, and that like running at Sunland and Zia Park and Remington Park, it's like nobody really wants him. He doesn't really make any sense here in that regard. 15-1 on the morning line. So it just kind of feels like maybe you're going to get a little bit of a price on him. And just the way the plot is set up here, like sitting behind that speed where he has maybe enough speed. I fear the distance for him because that could be a problem. But if you're going to get 20-25-1, it kind of feels like I take him over Oselli every day of the week, even at the same price. And Oselli is going to be much, much shorter. So I probably won't bet him. But if I do, it'll like that's kind of the one that I'm like, I could make a case for that one.
Yeah, he's got some ability. He really does. He can run a little bit. But I think even the connections they take their shots, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, we know we can win a stakes race at Sunland, like, easily.
Yep.
That's only $30,000. Like, $2 million race. Let's take a shot.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work out,
Nothing hurt.
Yeah,
I
the
mean, he
hell we
ran.
did. We took a
Yeah.
shot,
I mean, they ran second in the Lexington, which was a $400,000 race.
Yeah.
And Trendsetter won that race. So I don't know how much I want to take out of that race, but he was third choice in the Lexington. And, there wasn't anything there, but he was getting bet like he had some potential. I just think that finishing second, he's going to get kind of lost in the betting cycle of it all. And nobody's going to even think about him. So with a floating up of what I assume will happen, it feels kind of good to have one like that. I don't like that Corona de Oro, who's a 3 on the plot here, kind of looks exactly the same as him. But maybe that's the Lexington comes back as a key race for the Preakness all of a sudden.
I had them both as B minuses when it was all said and done. And they ran similar. They both dueled. I mean, in terms of Corona de Oro, probably ran slightly better given the fact that he took contact at the break. But he also kind of showed like he had some distance limitations. And I didn't note that on the Hell We Did, but I don't really know that he's any better than what he showed that day. Like where Corona de Oro, I would play him back. I just don't think this is the spot I want to play him back in, going that extra route of ground.
Yeah.
But like in a grade 3 at like a grade 3, even at 9 furlongs, even at today's distance, but like a grade 3, I would give him a look at the right price. So it's just, again, it's like class plus the distance that probably doesn't want. What price is he going to be? And I mean, I don't disagree. I think, the Hell We Did is going to be a big price. And I mean, he could be a good price exotic type horse too, more than like a win contender. No?
Yeah,
you prefer
absolutely.
you prefer him as a win contender?
No, I don't. I think they're the same horse is sort of the problem. Is like between the two of them, like they're kind of the same.
But you don't want either of them. Do you want either of them as a win contender, or
I don't think so. Like now,
or like more underneath?
I think it's more underneath when I go and look at it, because I was thinking like seeing the squares, I'm like, oh, maybe they're gonna be like closing, but I don't know that either of them really have that race in them as much as they just fit here because they aren't as fast as the rest of them. And if they aren't as fast as the rest of them, maybe they just aren't as good. Like I guess there is a semi closing race that the Hell We Did has run at like that allowance race at Sunland, like, but that just again feels like it was
sprinting.
First, and off of a layoff and all of the things about that, just like, all right, maybe they just clunk up and hold on more than actually win when I look at this in a real way.
And he was quad, even though he won from off the pace and like dominantly. He was still quadrant 1 that day.
Yeah.
So it's a subtle change as well, just in terms of like, what is this trip going to be?
Yeah. And if it's what the plot is looking like here, he's just like, he'll be stuck behind a whole bunch of horses and doesn't want the distance anyways. So then going to get stuck in traffic. And do we really want him in any way, shape, or form? And I think maybe because maybe he's one that can get the distance, but I think there's also some legitimate distance questions for both of them. I think probably don't want either of them, but the plot looks fun, but don't dig too deep.
And the Hell We Did is drawn in post 7, so
even tougher for him.
It could be. Yeah. I mean, Trip is going to really could be just that kind of like behind and between horses type thing, which I don't think they did at Sunland. But, something new on that front as well.
So Matt McJunkin is asking if you were on the grade stakes committee. I know that's your favorite thing is what?
That is my expertise.
Yes.
Oh, this is a grade 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The last couple of years have felt a little less grade 1-y, but
I mean, I think I know what you're asking. You're asking like classify what this race, given the horses that are in it, as. Okay, what I'll say is this. If I'm looking at what optics gives today's optics figure range, so like what it's going to typically take to win this race, given the horses in it. So that's
Mm-hmm.
like we kind of do that metric like a track variant.
Yeah.
Like there's
Yep.
a certain par, and then we adjust based on like who's in the group. Like if the top three for the Derby came back, it'd be a lot higher. Okay, so today is showing 97 and 91. So if I look at that par and say, okay, where has that been
It's the
based
Arkansas
on?
Derby.
Mm,
It's exactly the same as this year's Arkansas Derby.
okay, well, is it? I was
Yeah.
looking at some other ones,
Okay. I mean, I was just Silent Tactic ran in that one, and he was a 91, 97 is
and
what they gave.
he ran a 93. I
Yeah.
guess he finished second.
Yep.
But it's also the same as like the Tessio.
Yeah.
Um,
and
same as a lot of these,
yeah,
really. I mean,
and a point
Tampa
below the
Bay Derby,
bluegrass.
but again, a lot of these races that even the Arkansas Derby, Renegade was really good.
Yep.
And he proved that, right? I think his Derby showed he's legitimate. But everything else has been kind of mid
Yep.
out of that. So as a whole in terms of strength, not so much.
Yep.
Um let's see. Yeah, a lot of the like grade 2, like the Wood Memorial was 96 to 90, so it's kind of right there.
I was gonna
Um
say that's sort of what this race feels like to me. Is like it's the Wood Memorial, which is like the prep you don't want the horses coming out of in the Derby, but like they're all good. And this one kind of feels that same way of like they aren't quite Derby horses, but they're all pretty good. And like you got to fill the fill the gates, and they did. And it's a $2 million race, so I don't know. It's definitely not the premier event of the year, but I think it's a competitive race.
yeah,
Is
but getting back to that question, I
yeah,
think it'd probably be based on this and based on like looking at that in the past, it'd probably be grade 2, grade 3
yeah.
in there.
It'll always be a grade 1 because it's the second leg of the Triple Crown, so they won't knock it down any. But I think
Yeah,
in
and I
reality,
mean they should keep it up
yeah,
because it's there and horses should run in it, and like winning the Preakness is a thing. Um for whatever going forward. Yeah. What was
yep,
the other? Okay, so we talked about I think we need to talk about Talkin and Pretty Boy
okay,
Mia and Ocelli. We have to talk about a lot of these, don't we?
yeah. We don't have to talk
Okay.
about a lot of them. We can if you have anything about them that you're super interested in. I was gonna say that Pretty Boy Mia seemed like again with the plot looks like he fits pretty well, and then when I look at him, I say I don't know. He did okay in an allowance race that was fine at Aqueduct, but it was a one-turn mile. I'm not sure that this is where you're really going to say like, man, I really want this horse here, but kind of
The
the
draw
spot.
the draw hurt him.
Yeah,
You have to think. I mean,
yeah,
he's drawn outside. There's other speed on the inside to him. He's not a good gate horse. Am
yeah,
I looking at the Oh,
yeah.
sorry, I'm looking at the wrong.
He's
He's
14.
No, he is 14, but just in
Yeah.
terms of being not a good gate horse, I want to make
Oh,
sure that he only broke slow once. So sorry, I shouldn't say that. But at least he has possibly. But he's gonna have to kind of clear from the outside.
yeah,
Um and do something new. He's gonna go 2 turns for the first time.
yep. And yeah, I don't know that the one-turn mile at Aqueduct just never feels like the it always feels a little bit easier than other places, but I think that's just my bad
What do
perception
you
on
mean
it.
easier than what?
I don't know. It's a really like I don't like that one turn mile for whatever reason. Whereas like I have this bias towards the one turn mile at Churchill Downs because I just am dumb. But an optional claimer there just doesn't feel like the next step would like next logical step is the grade 1 Preakness.
Mm.
Especially it took 3 tries to break the maiden, all of them sprinting. Like didn't decide to go longer at all. Like they do offer longer races at Aqueduct if you were so inclined to go longer. So maybe he does want to go longer. I haven't watched the race, so I don't know. But it just is like a weird spot to go from an allowance at Aqueduct one turn mile to this race. But
It is a big step up. I mean, even that par 84 to 90, and he ran a 90. So he was on like the higher end of what it would take to win that race, and not
Mm-hmm.
like a B plus, just a B.
Yeah.
B pressed. Like, it's not the type of horse, it's, to your point, is
Yeah.
signaling this horse really wants to take a big step up in class. And his debut was good, but
Yeah.
that was a restricted maiden race.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, he just seemed like one again based on the plot. It's like, ooh, look at him on the plot. He's the 11 here, where it's just like he's that big square right in the middle of the bullseye. And then he's kind of in that same spot as the Hell We Did and Corona de Oro, where it's like, ooh, that's where you want him to be. And then I go and look at him like, okay, maybe I don't like him quite as much as it seems like the plot is telling me I kind of
yeah,
do.
I don't. I mean, the plot in this case, it's like it must be plotting that mile race,
It seems
but
like
like
it.
this isn't that. So
Yeah.
plot, you're not wrong, but I have to just like use some critical thinking and being like, okay, well maybe he gets that trip, but like based on the other horse in the race, because it does rate based on the other runners, but still
Yeah.
it is basing it off something this horse has never done before.
Yeah. And so it just feels like, again, maybe it's fine, maybe he's good, but it just feels a little bit like plot looks good. And then I look and you look at some of the actual race part, you're like, okay, maybe not so
But
good.
even in that case, right? Let's say that you're like, okay, Pretty Boy Mia is like has a pace advantage. Like he's not going to lose this race based on pace. So
Right.
that could be, a check mark. But in terms of class, he's below.
Yeah.
In terms of speed figures, he is quick enough, so it's not a knock, but it's like that average rating. Like you're fine, but you don't have any edge in that category either.
Yeah.
And in terms of current form, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. Like there's no big knocks, but
Yeah.
he's also kind of doing something new in that situation as well. He's never run third off. His kind of big races have been first off. Maybe you could project like this would be a time that you cycle to a top, but his speed figure wise, like debut
Yeah.
race was fresh.
Yep.
His maiden win, dominant, March 29th, was off a 46-day break.
Yep.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a top effort time for him. New peak is really the case.
Yeah. I think the one we should probably talk about after looking through the grid a little bit closer was Iron Honor, who's the morning line favorite. So at the very least, we should mention the favorite.
Okay.
Just seems like, I mean, the first two races of his career, the Maiden and the Gotham, which were Maiden was a sprint, the Gotham was a 1 turn mile at Aqueduct. So, my bias comes back out, but he was fine there. He beat what's his name? That crowned the Buckeye, who I'm pretty sure ran in the Pate Mile or one of those like sprinter type
Mhm.
races. Um, and then just was bad in the Wood Memorial, but he was up close to that pace, and that
Yeah,
pace
he's a
completely fell apart. So maybe
yeah,
that's
he's a
an
flow
excuse.
he's a flow upgrade for
Yeah.
sure. He's wide against the flow. Yeah. I mean that race yeah, I mean that race you don't give him an excuse, but like you kind of in hindsight give him a little bit of an excuse because even going in it was like you have to play against this horse. He's totally up against it. He's drawn outside. There's so much other speed in this field. He's not going to get the right trip at a short price. And then he still showed some running spots. I mean, he wasn't a competitive seventh when it was all said and done, but that's probably the best race he was going to run given those circumstances. And it's clearly not the best race that he has,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And I just don't know if based on the way the plot looks here, is it going to set up for him in kind of that same way? Like, can he sit off and be in that first pack of where, it looks like Chipancho where Corona de Oro and Pretty Boy Mia would, in theory, be? Like, could he sit
He's the plot's
back?
doing another weird thing here, like where Pretty Boy Mia's had kind of those favorable trips. It's like the plot's like, I love that. You look really great. And then Iron Honor having the Wood Memorial within a 3-race sample, and that race being that longer one, it's impacting so much of that data.
Gotcha.
So that's playing a role in, at least in the circle,
Yeah.
to where he's still gonna have to get a trip, like, don't get me wrong,
Right.
but he might have more finishing ability than what the plot is showing. But again, that's one of those things, like, because we're saying might,
Right.
and this would be the time to find out, you'd want price compensation.
Which,
I don't necessarily know
yeah.
you're gonna get it.
Yeah. I mean, he's the morning line favorite. He's 9-2 on the morning line. I kind of feel like that's 4-1, 9-2 is where he probably ends up because of the connections, because he's getting Pratt for the first time, Chad Brown, all of those type of things. And I don't know that people are going to see that 7th place finish in the Wood and be like, yep, that's the horse I want. But also they see Pratt and they see Brown. So they're going to say, yeah, but they're sending him here for a reason. Because that's what I'm thinking. It's like, I see why I don't want to play him. And if you, like you were saying, price compensation is always the most important thing, but I don't feel like he's floating much higher than where he is.
Yeah, and that's really kind of my only like knock with him would be on price, because everything else sort of makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's, he was very dominant on debut. It was like the fastest race of the day according to the notes. And then he comes back into Gotham and he wins in his second start with adversity. He had legitimate, he bumped and squeezed at the start, and it
Yeah.
was still a very fast early and very fast late race shape, and he won that race.
Yeah.
So and that was actually another knock kind of going into the Wood Memorial, was just in terms of form cycle, like if that took something out of him coming back in 35 days from kind of a big effort. But now you have that race, like, all right, it didn't work out. Like, nothing was good that day. Now we come back. You just kind of follow his progression. He's probably
Yeah.
closer to those first 2 races than he is the Wood Memorial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And he's getting the 6 weeks as opposed to, I mean, I don't know if 5 weeks is that big of a difference between.
Well, given, again, it's all situational, right?
Right.
5
Because you
weeks
got the,
coming off a top effort versus 6 weeks coming off where he probably didn't really have to run that last quarter, or couldn't run
yeah.
that last quarter, so to speak.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if he's even the deserving favorite, but maybe he is. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I
haven't
mean,
looked that closely
there's
at this.
still a scenario where Taj Mahal is.
Yeah, I imagine Taj Mahal goes off favorite if probably Incredible, but that's just name and
Or sorry,
Derby.
yeah, probably Incredible. Sorry, I keep forgetting
But
he's
yeah,
in the race because I'm looking at the grid and I don't see
yeah,
him pop up. So
yeah.
yeah, I keep forgetting about him.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, and then other than that, like you said, talking, and we'll talk about talking just because I have a future on him. So now I'm gonna purposefully say, oh yeah, we should definitely talk about this one. But I put the future in because he was 100-1 and he ended up going off at 50-1. So I don't feel quite as happy about it. But I'll take 50-1 on a morning line of 20-1, and maybe it'll be okay. And if not, it was $20, so I'm not going to complain too loudly.
Yeah. My biggest question with him is just the distance. 'Cause in the bluegrass, he showed like he had some distance limitations. The horse that finished second,
Bacino or Otino or whatever.
yeah, ended up like closing and running him down, and talking up to that point had a good trip.
Yeah.
Like there was really no reason for him to lose second.
Yeah.
I know it's hard to see with that running line,
No,
but
I remember though. It was like everybody was getting beat by a lot. Why couldn't you just keep going? And like it's
why
not like
couldn't you just hold second?
yeah.
Like, yeah, it
Yeah.
just looked like he had some distance limitations.
He does have a couple of races, I think the Champagne and a little bit no, just that one, and maybe the debut where he showed at least a little bit of closing ability, so maybe he's able to sit off and make a run, but those are both one-turn races, so I think I'm maybe asking a bit much and hoping a little bit too much, but they ran him in the Remsen, and he was not very good, and then,
He's a flow upgrade from that race.
Yeah. So like, there's a little bit there that makes some sense, but he has the the one turn tag on him also from the Tampa Bay Derby, and then the shorter on the bluegrass. So it's like, all right, so what we're gonna do is take him another half furlong longer than the other two times. So, like you said, the distance may be an issue, but I got 50 to 1, so I'll be okay with that.
Yeah,
I
and I
don't
mean
know that I want him.
they could also too just be like, we have a horse that has some ability, and even though he doesn't want to go this far, maybe we just catch these other guys sleeping,
Yeah,
and our guy doesn't really want to go this distance, but a lot of these other ones don't either. And at the end of the day, we're better, if not on the same level.
yeah,
And maybe we sneak one by and win the Preakness. And worst case scenario, we finish second, we finish third.
yep,
Doesn't work at all. Like, whatever. Coming in with a fresh horse. Yeah.
yep.
Um,
That all sort of makes sense, and like got Irad. So I guess if you're gonna get a long shot, like I'll take Irad on a long shot. It's kind of a maybe hoping for a trip. So
yeah.
yeah. Anybody else in this list that we want to talk
Wasn't there
about?
one more? Napoleon Solo? Or
Napoleon Solo. We could talk about Napoleon Solo.
who else? Who else do we want
Yeah.
to talk?
We were talking about what's his name? Incredible, but I think we covered him enough that we were good.
Oh wait, no, we didn't. We didn't really, because I
Okay,
opened
let's
the
do
window and then
Incredible.
I closed it. I was like, "Oh,
Gotcha.
I'm done with
Okay.
that. I'm done with that." But okay, let's talk about Incredible.
Yes.
Once
Ran
I
in the Derby and pull it
yeah,
back up and do all the
once I
things.
reopened the window.
So I
Luckily
will.
Great White was a scratch, so easy for me to easy to grab it right off the grid. Just follow that scratch run line. Um, yeah, I mean, Incredible probably is going to be favored. Now I look at his running lines. Improved number wise with distance, is improving kind of in this current form cycle, has the trip in the Derby, not a one off. He's definitely, I mean, he has a shorter keyword as well, but I would rather see him at this distance in this group versus 10 furlongs against that group.
Yeah.
Kind of like what I was saying about talking, like, yeah, this distance against legitimate grade one, probably not his best, but against slightly inferior competition, he could do it.
Yeah. I
Um,
liked him a
yeah,
little bit in the Derby because of I thought you were going to get a good enough price, which I don't even know what he went off at because it's not
almost 24 to 1,
okay. So
23.7.
yeah, probably not a good enough price even then. He had the wins and the street sense and like kind of had that Churchill form where like, okay, well maybe he could be sneaky. The Virginia Derby's a 1 turn mile and an eighth, which is just peculiar and weird, and you just don't see it often. So I do have a little bit of 2 turn questions, but I guess the street sense kind of said it's not an issue, maybe. I don't know. It just
It just goes back to that level of competition. Like, it's
yeah,
probably not his ideal, but against this group, if he's faster and classier and in form,
yeah,
but that just is one of those things. Like, as a favorite, I would not feel comfortable betting him. I wouldn't bet him at too short of a number.
yeah,
Like, because of that, just pass. I don't care.
yeah.
Or have him, or feel confident enough to be like, wow, I have some really live prices. I hope I get a live to Incredible to like seal the deal.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that sounds like a sweat I never want to experience.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's fine, but I like you were saying about like the class of this field, it's like they're all fine. There's nobody here that I'm like, oh man, that's gonna be the next big horse. There's no one here that I'm feeling all that, you know, confident with anything beyond this race. I mean, I guess if Taj Mahal like blows the doors off here, like maybe he is legit. He's just been beaten up on some like mediocre competition. But even then, I'm like, but he's still beating up on mediocre competition. So I don't know that I want him beyond this race. Like maybe this is the best he'll ever be, which good for them. That's a cool place to win.
Yeah, and I am still a little bit concerned in terms of that form cycle.
Yeah,
Like, that he did have to, he was best. I think they got it done, but I don't necessarily know they needed to or wanted to empty the tank as much as they ended up doing for that
yeah.
race.
And now coming back on a 4 week
Exactly.
turnaround on top of
Yeah.
it all, it's like,
Yeah.
all right, maybe. But
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you don't have to do anything, but it certainly feels like they kind of planned that because they had the 8 week layoff to the Tessio, and then they were coming back on 4 weeks. But like you're saying, like emptying the tank and the Tessio, probably not what they were after because it's
Probably not what they wanted to
150,000.
do. Yeah,
Yeah,
they probably went to the lead and was like, "This is going to be the easiest path. We don't have any stress. We'll just get out there and cruise." And then all of a sudden they went pretty quick, and then it was like, "Oh, we did a lot of running, and then we
yeah,
slowed it down, and then we had to speed up again." It's a lot. It's a lot
yeah.
coming off. It's probably a lot more than what they wanted. And speed figure wise, Laurel speed figures, I kind of always like take them with a little bit of a grain of salt, but each one of his Laurel speed figures has been faster and faster. So it's like he ran a new top that day as well.
Hmm.
So that,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, he feels like what that'd be okay. Like I feel okay tossing him and kind of letting it
yeah.
in there. And it's like, and if he beats me, like, well, cool. I mean, that's a cool horse then to kind of do that. But otherwise, I don't think he's one that I'm all that thrilled with, especially at what's going to be. I would assume second or third choice. I mean, I guess it kind of depends on Iron Honor, and I really think it's going to depend on how much money Oselli takes because Oselli running third in the
Mm,
Derby
we should
certainly
talk
feels like
about him.
he feels like Oselli's going to take more money than he should because he ran third in the Derby. Like he's still eligible for a maiden race, like he's eligible for a maiden auction race, and he's going to run the Triple Crown, and he's going to probably run the Jim Dandy. He'll probably run the Saratoga, like in the Travers, and then he'll come back at Oaklawn next year and win a maiden race. But
Oh, well, I mean, we talked about it and pretty much dissected it in the trip notes video for the Kentucky Derby.
yeah,
The factors that he had, I mean, he ran a huge race. He ran a huge race that day,
yep,
but he had those things. He had pace to run at. He made that first move, that massive move. Tyler Gaffleone just right riding that horse like a man possessed. And then you have the hot barn.
yep,
And it's like now we don't have, I don't know if we have all those things plus that same horse
yep,
on that day
yep.
going,
Especially coming back on 2 weeks and never been that good in the first place. Like,
yeah, he ran a new he that's another one. It's like he ran a new top in the Derby, but it's not like a number that gives him any speed figure advantage,
yeah,
right? The Derby was
hmm,
slow by
yeah,
like pretty much all metric.
yep,
Optics has it as a 97. It's a new top for him, but there's other horses in here that have run 98. Napoleon Solo ran a 98 in the Champagne. Iron Honor ran 99 on debut and 95 in the Gotham. Great White ran not quite, but like 92. It's like
yep.
he doesn't have a speed figure advantage.
No, and especially if
Um,
you throw that 97 out, which you don't have to throw the 97 out because it exists, but below that, the highest you got was the 92. So he's like
right.
well below
And
everybody else when you get to, not
and
counting the
when he
Derby.
ran and then he when he ran that 92, what did he do afterwards? Did he get faster or did he take a little step back? Just a little
Took a,
baby step.
yeah,
Little baby
yep.
step backwards, you know?
And that was the first time he went 2 turns. One night it wasn't the first time, but like he's running 2 turns almost his entire career, and he hasn't broken his maiden. And he had it, like you said, like he was possessed on Tyler was possessed on the Derby, where he's just like, we're gonna win the Derby,
Yeah.
and they didn't. And it's like, well, he hasn't won any other race either. So I guess pretty cool to run third in the Derby, but not one that I really want to come back with.
Guys, don't forget Mind That Bird. Who could forget Mind That Bird? What do you
I
mean? Don't forget Mind That Bird.
I forgot Mind That Bird, but I don't know if that has anything to do with this
Almost beat
almost.
Rachel with same conditions. I mean, no.
I'm not gonna say it. I was gonna say who's Rachel, but I know who Rachel Alexander is. Even I know who
Mm.
Rachel Alexander is, but slightly before my time. Anybody else here that we want to talk about? Since I think now we've talked about all of them. Kruper, no thank you. Bull by the horns, maybe.
Well, we talked about him a little bit, just the
Yeah,
fact that he would be the horse that should be legitimately 50, 70 to 1 in here because
yeah.
he's too slow. He doesn't have a single race that's anywhere close to anything competitive,
Mhm.
but you have connections that are going to take money at the least. I mean, this horse would have to get 10 points faster
Yeah,
in
and
his
I mean,
best race.
he ran really bad the Fountain of Youth which okay, whatever. But he ran really bad, or he won the rushaway, but the rushaway was really bad. Like if you go and look at like who came out of that race, like there was a maiden race that day that was faster than it.
Yeah.
And so it's just like,
Well, Trendsetter came back and won from that race.
okay, well, there you
But
go.
Bull by the Horns had the race flow in his favor, and he still didn't run very fast.
Yeah.
I mean, that race par, if we're talking comparing race par, 78 to 84, today being 91. He's
Yeah.
never, he ran in a similar race par in the Fountain of Youth, and he got just cooked.
Yeah. He does have at least some of the closing ability that, like, which is why he's a square on the plot, which I think if people are looking at this race like I kind of am, where it's like maybe this pace falls apart. Plus, you just saw the Derby where they all fell apart. So maybe you have this like, oh, maybe Bull by the Horn will be the one that closes here. I'm not going to buy into that so much, but I can buy into that being something that somebody would say. But at 50 to 1, maybe it's worth a shot taking him with that, because he's going to be pretty high price in this race, right? Like he'll be biggest price on the board.
Yeah, he'll be a huge price. He's an absolutely legitimate long shot. Long shot. Tell you why no, because I don't know if they're the exact same conditions. I'm not going to do like a trust me, bro. They're the exact same conditions. I don't have the data from that day to be like, oh yeah, you're right. It's just I don't have it, and I'm never going to have it, so I can't compare these two.
Did Rachel Alexander run in the Preakness?
It's just not. It's not even like I can't say the same conditions. I have no way of validating that.
And it was a long time ago. And
I mean, finishing positions doesn't mean like the exact same conditions.
And didn't Mind the Bird win the Derby, whereas Weselli ran third and still hasn't won a race yet. So yeah, not the same. So anybody else on this plot that we want to look at and think is interesting? I think we've literally talked about them all at this point.
I think we have too. I mean, we kind of glazed over Chip Honcho a little bit. He's probably one that I don't like this horse at all. I'm just kind of like I don't know. I feel like he's had some like flattered trips, but with that said, this is like the type of race where a horse like this could be overlooked and then kind of outrun his odds a little bit, because people are like, oh, he's just going to be one of those like pace casualty horses, but he should be the best of the speed in this race.
Right.
I mean, Iron Honor, I don't know what they do with Iron Honor, but yeah.
Like looking at his Lecomte and Risen in the Louisiana Derby. I mean, Louisiana Derby, obviously he ran 5th and, kind of got cooked, but those earlier races where he ran in a very fast race shape and won one and held on for 4th in the other, like, I don't know, maybe there's something there, but I think his good race was the Risen Star where he ran 2nd. It's like, just nobody came and got him. Like,
I don't think he pulls off. I don't think he pulls off the win, but he could be a horse that sticks around for underneath and just kind of gets a little bit overlooked.
Yeah.
What was his morning line? Do you have that graphic quick?
I do. He's the 6th horse and he's 5 to 1.
Oh, that's no value. Yeah, no, forget
so
it.
He won't be he won't be
like 15, like 15 or 20 or something. I
kind of feel like he's gonna float up from there, would be my guess. I can't imagine he's 5 to 1. But it is Asmussen and Jose Ortiz, so maybe that takes some money, I guess. I don't know. That just feels like a bit way too short for me for a horse that hasn't been very good.
Yeah, right? I bet you're right. It's like he'll get the Jose Ortiz money. Because what's NBC going to talk about?
Yeah, right.
Jose Ortiz, he did the Derby, he did the thing, he's on this guy.
And I bet somebody that knows what they're looking at and knows how to analyze this, I bet the Talkin' Chip Honcho Exacta, like the Exacta box with the Irad or the Ortiz brothers on it, I bet is way bet more than you would expect it to be with the horses that they actually are. Because like Irad and Jose are going to get talked about a lot on NBC, and they're the 5-6 right next to each other. And if nothing else, I've learned from Inside the Pylons is horses that are right next to each other take money in weird ways that they shouldn't. So
wow, that's a very ITP thing.
right? And so
Interesting. Okay.
we'll have to find somebody who knows how to like look at these things and what the exact probables should be
Yeah.
versus what they actually are. Because I bet they like the box is extra boxy on those two. So
The box is boxing. All right.
extra boxy. All right.
Extra boxing. All
When
right.
we start talking about extra boxy and ship poncho, we've really gone off the
We've done
rails.
it. Yeah,
So
we've done it. I mean, yeah, I feel like we could have called it a wrap right after the drop, but here we are. I think
yeah,
it's good.
but we
Sometimes
talked about all
it's-
of them. Yeah.
sometimes a lot of these races, it's like it takes a lot of time to be like, I feel pretty comfortable passing this race. I've looked
Yeah.
at it 5 different ways. Like, if there's that scenario, I'll play. If not, I
Yeah.
don't think I'm gonna miss anything.
Yeah, I guess the one thing we should probably mention, just because now we've gone on long enough, the track is going to be interesting because they're using the first finish line or something. I don't really understand what they were talking about, but Ed has the mile and a 3/16 or 5/16, whatever it is. What's the distance? 9.5 furlongs, where they've ran it like once, and it's just kind of a weirder setup at Laurel. I don't think the
Mm.
track means anything. I may play this race because it's at Laurel, not at Pimlico, because I boycotted Pimlico because I've lost so much money there. But I don't know, anything there. You care make any difference
Yeah,
whatsoever?
I mean, I think again, you have like that one race sample. I think it's probably worth looking at, but more kind of like big picture. But again, I think more doing kind of like the design on each horse, right? So like
Yeah,
we talked about with who is it? Like Pretty Boy Mia, like from the outside, like
right.
with that type of run, with those other horses, like how is that gonna work out? How is that gonna play out, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Things
Yep.
like that.
I think that's right. Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's a fun race in terms of like it seems competitive. I think the favorites may just be too good. And so it just may not actually be as competitive as it seems like it should be. Like on paper, you're like, yeah, Napoleon Solo is just as good as all the rest of these, and he's 8-1. It's like,
I
okay,
mean,
but
yeah, I mean, that's kind of the thing, right? It's like these favorites, they probably get it done, but they're not gonna be a number. They might not be a number that's playable.
yeah,
And then at that point, if you do like a Napoleon Solo, you're gonna have to decide like what that price is. Like, yeah, he's not the favorite, but like, is 7-1 still playable, or do you need 12? And if you don't get 12,
yeah,
like Tony said earlier, like you just got to know when you walk away. Like
yep,
if you're not getting it, you can find another horse that you think is going to be the right number somewhere else.
yeah.
You
There's a
know, just
110-yard
because it's the
race.
Preakness doesn't
Yep,
mean like you have to justify, you have to sacrifice some of your principles
yep,
because it's the Preakness. It's just a
yeah,
horse race.
yeah. There's
The
a
number
110-yard.
has no idea that it's the Preakness.
Yeah. There's a 110-yard race at
Yeah,
Los Al that,
that's
you pay
right.
$70, and what more do
That's
you
right.
need? I need to hit that one is what I need. So, anyways, that's more than enough. When we get into the Los Al conversation, we get real deep in the weeds. So, all right.
All right,
We'll
sounds
talk to
good.
everybody later. See you, everybody.
One, two, three, four. Going to AC7.